speed up your AutoCAD workflows, today I'll show you two hidden gems, select similar and count selection, that can save you absolute tons of time. What do they do? These two features which you find when you've marked an object and do a right click. Here they are, select similar and count selection. These two commands help us basically to select objects en masse according to certain criteria. Before we go into that, let me just tidy up my view here by using freeze by object, just to get rid of some of the things which we don't need right now. Okay, let's get right into it. I'll select one of these blocks. Let's do this one here. Right click, select similar, and then it will mark all of these blocks. So basically the blocks which have the same name. And then I can just say, for example, I don't want those. Let's hide them, because those aren't actually relevant perhaps for the next stage of my work. Then I mark another one, another block which is here. It's actually a different block. It's called wall panel. Do a right click and go to select similar. Now it will basically select all of the instances of this particular block which are on the same layer. So as soon as I change the layer of one of these, let's put that on to order 10. Right click, select similar. It's no longer selected. Let's change that back. I can actually change that. If I call out this command again, I can actually go to settings here and say, for example, I want this feature to ignore the layer. So I click on that, right click, select similar, and then it will select all of the instances of this particular block independent of which layer they've been inserted on. So let me just change that back. I don't want to forget about that and start getting irritated when I work with it. So let's activate layer. And we have these basic properties which are pretty much the same as the ones we find listed here. Nothing complicated, but we can filter our selection or select similar things with or without consideration of these properties here. So that's select similar. I'm going to mark another block here, right click, and instead of going to select similar, I go to count selection. Now you might think, well, that would be the same. We could just go here to select similar and then go to count selection. But all it does, it says we have one selection set here. So that isn't a help at all. If we want to know how many there are in this selection, when we've clicked on select similar, then we just look here. Okay, we have 51 instances of this block on this particular layer. So this is slightly different. I'll choose this one here. Let's go to number 9. It's more interesting. Count selection. It tells us there are actually 73 instances of this particular block. And when I click here on select counted, I can now see, okay, there's our 73 repeated, but these are all on the same layer. Maybe that's not surprising. But what is interesting is that these blocks which have dynamic features so that the height and width can be changed, it will only select these ones which are all the same. We can see by default it doesn't look at the attributes where we have the number and the situation of this block, but these are things which we can actually change. If I go here and click on this blue information button, I can then change that. For example, I could say they all have to be on the same layer, or the attributes have to be the same. So this is the order for the whole of this elevation. I say, no, we just want one side of it. That's the attribute here, Lager Southwest. So I can choose to ignore these attributes or include them also in the count, so differentiating between the properties which are here. But standard is that the layer is ignored and it's just the dynamic features which are taken into consideration with this count. So that's also a very useful feature when you're working with large numbers of objects. Well, that was actually it. I hope you find that interesting, and I'm sure you'll be able to use this particular command, right-click, either select similar or count selection in your work in the future. If you like this video, please say so in that you click on the like button, and also if you'd like to see more of this kind of video, feel free to subscribe as well. Till next time, goodbye.